Mr. President, I rise today because it's that time of year again. Tax day is almost upon us. As millions of Americans rush to get their taxes done this weekend, and many more having just completed that process, we all know what a pain it is to have your hard-earned dollars taken away by the government. Well, Mr. President, if you thought this year was painful, I've got terrible news for you. It's going to get a lot worse. Under the new management here in the Congress, the Democrats have proposed a budget that would result in the largest tax increase in America's history. That means more money will be taken away from families and small businesses. And since we all just completed one or are about to do so, Mr. President, I'd like to have us take a look at how the Democrats are going to increase America's taxes on a typical 1040 tax form. Let's start right up here with filing status. Let's say you are a married couple filing jointly. The marriage penalty is back. That means that married couples are going to pay somewhere in the range of another $1,360 more in higher taxes because of the return of the marriage penalty. Some taxpayers are going to find the exemption, a $3,300 exemption, get cut down to zero. Go down to dividends. Senior citizens and anybody who has a dividend in this country is going to see their taxes increased on dividends to 39.6%, which is an increase from the current tax rate on dividends of 15%. Capital gains. Let's say you're a senior citizen. You've got some dividends income. You've got some capital gains income. Your capital gains rates are going to go from 15% up to 20%. How about those families that are putting kids through college and are taking advantage of the student loan interest deduction? Well, that too, Mr. President, is going to be capped for families making more than $60,000 a year. Let's move over to those taxpayers who itemize their deductions. Mortgage interest, charitable contribution, state and local tax deduction. What's going to happen there again, Mr. President? You're going to see this go up. It's going to get capped, the amount that they can deduct. Let's take the alternative minimum tax right down here. The alternative minimum tax is going to affect an additional 20 million Americans are going to pay the alternative minimum tax. How about the credit for child and dependent care expenses, something that a lot of working families in this country take advantage of? There again, that credit is going to be slashed by 31%. The child tax credit that a lot of working families in this country take advantage of, currently at $1,000, that also is going to be slashed, Mr. President, in half, from $1,000 down to $500. Let's take a look at the earned income credit. Again, this is a credit that's taken advantage of by a lot of lower income working Americans and a lot of people, Mr. President, who are serving their country. Soldiers, men and women in uniform, slashed. Let's take a look at the tax rate schedule too, because I think this is really important, Mr. President. If you're a taxpayer today that's paying at the 10% tax rate, the 10% tax rate is boom, gone, boom, gone, boom, gone, boom, gone. If you're paying at the 25% tax rate, your taxes are going to go up to 28%. Lose the 25% rate. If you're paying at the 28% rate, your taxes are going to go up to 31%. If you're someone who's paying currently at the 33% rate, your taxes are going to go up, boom, to 36%. And Mr. President, if you're someone who's currently paying taxes at the 35% rate, your taxes are going to go up to 39.6%. So what does all this mean? Everybody wants to know when they do their taxes, what is the bottom line? How does it affect me when it comes to the actual amount of taxes that I'm going to pay? Well, we took a typical family in South Dakota, Mr. President, and how would it impact them? A typical family in South Dakota, when it comes down to computing the amount that they're going to owe in taxes under this Democrat budget, is $2,596 additional dollars that they will pay in taxes on top of what they're already paying this year if this Democrat budget is enacted. So, Mr. President, the point I would simply make is this. When you get behind and read through all the fine print in the Democrat budget, you come down to one simple conclusion: higher taxes. Higher taxes for married couples because of the return of the marriage penalty. They're going to penalize for being married. That's the benefit you get for being married. If the Democrat budget is enacted, higher taxes for married couples. Higher taxes for seniors who are going to pay a 39.6% tax rate on dividend income, a 20% tax rate increase from 15% on capital gains distributions. Higher taxes on working families in this country who are trying to put their kids through college, who are going to lose some of the deductions they currently get for student loan interest. Take it over here. The credit for child dependent care expenses, child tax credit impacting working families, higher taxes for working families, higher taxes for low-income Americans because of the earned income credit. And, Mr. President, again, most importantly probably in all of this, the 10% rate that lower-income Americans currently pay is gone. It's eliminated. Gone. Boom. And every tax rate on the rate schedule today is going to go up. From 25 to 28, from 28 to 31, from 33 to 36, and from 35 to 39.6%. Every person in this country who pays taxes today is going to see a higher tax bill because of this Democrat budget. And as I said, Mr. President, and every state can go and check this out for themselves, but in my state of South Dakota, typical tax bill is going to go up by $2,596 over this year. Mr. President, that's the bottom line. That is the bottom line on the Democrat budget. Higher taxes, the highest, biggest increase in taxes in America's history. Mr. President, I yield the floor.